Okay, boys, Aunt Justine here, back with some 5-minute Bible stories. Today, we are going to learn about Samson. Now, if you recall, Joshua led the people into the promised land, and there were the 12 tribes of Israel. Well, though the people of Israel lived there in the land of Canaan among the Canaanites, who did not have the God that we know today, the God of creation, the one true God. So there ended up being lots of conflict. The tribes were trying to overtake the Canaanites, and in doing so, they won, they lost. There was lots of bloody battles, but ultimately, they did not have the most effective leaders. There was lots of corruption among the leaders of Israel and all the different tribes. And unfortunately, God's chosen people, Israel, started adopting all of those practices, the corrupt practices of the Canaanites, whose land they were promised by God. So it got pretty ugly in the book of Judges. One of the worst judges, who was judges aren't like what we think of judges today. They were more like tribal chiefs, right? Like maybe army and tribal chiefs. One that we're going to learn about today, Samson. He was a bad boy for sure. So we are going to learn about this 5-minute Bible story. But the thing I want to point out here is that though there were just totally corrupt leaders in Israel, God promised to always redeem his chosen people, Israel. And even through all of the ups and the downs and the turmoils and the spiraling into not following God's 10 commandments, he still is working to save his people Israel from the Philistines and from others in battles. And we'll ultimately see how Jesus comes out of that in the New Testament. Thank goodness, because things get ugly here in Israel with these judges, one of which being Samson. So, Samson the Strong. Samson was stronger and braver than any other man. When he was born, God told his parents that he would deliver the Israelites from the Philistines. To show how special he was, Samson's parents never once cut his hair. The Philistines feared Samson, for he carried out many attacks against them. But when he fell in love with the beautiful Philistine Delilah, she tried to find out the secret of his strength. Night after night, treacherous Delilah pleaded with Samson to tell her his secret. In the end, he said, if anyone were to cut off my hair, then I would lose all my strength. That night, the Philistines crept into his room and cut off his hair. He was powerless as they bound and blinded him and threw him into prison. Over time, Samson's hair grew back. One day, the Philistine rulers were gathered for a feast in a crowded temple. Samson was brought out to be made fun of. He was chained between the two central pillars of the temple. There, he prayed to God with all his heart, "Give me strength just one more time, Lord, so I can take revenge upon my enemies." Once more, Samson was filled with strength. He pushed against the pillars with all his might, and they toppled and the temple crashed down, killing everyone inside.